Hey, morning everyone. My name is Yuri and we're gonna live code today. Well, probably more decompilation kind of stuff today, but still. Let me know if the sound is alright and the video is alright, and let's get started. Hey, YouTuber on YouTube. Yeah, I'd be curious to know where you're from. As always, we could just leave a comment, Mr. Vaksu. Good morning, everyone. Hey everyone. So today I'm gonna be talking about this amazing website. Well, actually recently there's been a tweet about Three.js that they've just added 36 new cool showcased websites on the homepage of the Three.js, and I was like, okay, 36 streams coming now. Actually did some of those, like this MAV farm and maybe something else. I don't even remember now. Probably the only one that I did out of this. All right, so today we're going to be doing this one, Voice of Racism. I'm going to explain how it's done, and we're going to create a simple demo resembling what they did there. It's a pretty amazing website. You should go check it out. And it's done with Three.js, and it was done with a kind of new concept to me, and I decided I should try to implement it and use it. So first of all, yay, good morning everyone. So first of all, I'm gonna try with, well, this website is kind of complicated. They use a lot of different tech there. So I'm gonna start with first part of the tech, which is not related to the code in any way, but and then we're gonna code the simple demo. Yeah, let's do it this way. So when you go to the website, first thing that amazed me is that they have a lot of messages there, well, about racism, but the person, I mean the 3D kind of person that you see, is actually pronouncing every single message correctly. And that was kind of like, how did they do that? It's like maybe hundreds of messages there, I don't know, or dozens for sure. And I was kind of curious how they did that. And well, it's really interesting how they did that. So if you go into the network tab, and they have this face mesh GLB. Okay, I just want to download you. Okay, actually download it already. So we have this face mesh GLB, and then for each message they load two new files, like the MP3 and then the new GLB. And I was like wondering, what kind of GLB would you need to load for just pronouncing message? And that's kind of interesting. If you go to GLTF loader, if you open up the face mesh, this is the model that they used. And it's beautiful low poly model, and what's interesting about it, they have a lot of morph targets there, so you could just do like all kind of stuff like this kind of stuff, or this, I don't know, all the crazy kind of stuff. I think it's mostly about the mouth here, but I think there was something about the eyes too, I believe. Maybe I'm mistaken. So you could do any kind of crazy stuff here. Okay, I'm gonna switch the screen probably. It's gonna be much better. Why didn't you tell me? So you can do like different kind of faces there, like any kind of faces actually. And of course that was prepared in Blender or some other tool. But what's interesting, if then I go into this each of those files that I load for each of the messages, like they have 175 GLB and then MP3. So MP3 is obviously the sound of it, like the phrase that they say. But the GLB, that's what the interesting. For the GLB part, come on, okay. For the GLB, like remember we have this jaw open, mouth funnel, and all the kind of stuff. If you open up the GLB file, it doesn't have anything, and it's really small. It's like 20 kilobytes or something. So for each message, it's really small. It's like 39 kilobytes here. It's pretty small. And if you open up here, it has nothing inside. Well, just one dummy object. and then all the animation. So they actually saved all the mouth movement that you need to do to pronounce the phrase into the GLB animation. I'm wondering how they, like, what was the pipeline to do that? There gotta be some automatic conversion algorithm that converts the how you pronounce the words into the mouth movement. And that's pretty cool. Maybe they coded each letter, and then like, but then again, well, some letters are not pronounced in English, so I'm not even sure how they did that. Maybe just by hand, manually, I don't know. But that's pretty fascinating stuff. You could see all the animation, like all the corresponding parts of the face are moving within those animation. So it's pretty complex stuff. I don't know how they code it. It's like 12 objects moving at the same time. So that's how the saying something works. But you don't really see this 3D model here, right? You just see some weird representation, little lines and the mesh. It's not actually a 3D model that we see. And that's the part I'm gonna code now. So I don't even know how they made this pipeline, and that is interesting. Yeah, I hope they will make a case study someday. But what we will do this animation. Well, kind of it without the animation probably, but just the concept of it. So let's do it. I'm gonna call it voice. I'm gonna get my Three.js starter. Voice. I'm gonna start it over. Hey India and hey Philippines. Hey Amsterdam too. All right, so template is starting. And first I need some object. I believe I had this face of Gal Gadot, and I like Gal Gadot, so so I'm gonna use her face. And then it was face full GLB, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna just get myself a model here, face full GLB. Let's just check if it's really something I can use. Yeah, so it's just a woman face, and that's it. There's no animation here, nothing whatsoever, just a simple mesh. I think it's like 100 kilobytes. Oh, maybe, but then you have to implement. Yeah, maybe that sounds, but that's still kind of a complicated thing to do just for the website, you know. So that's what makes it cool. So they went over the boundaries. Like, you're just wondering how the hell they made it. It's like, it's interesting. That's what makes it cool. So yeah, I need to open the website now. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna do a short window layout kind of stuff. We would be able to see both of them. All right, so you can see that they actually load every single new message. They have lots of them. All right, where do we start here? I need to load the model. First of all, I need to load the model. Face full GLB, it's called. So let's load it up. To load the model, I need the GLTF loader, have it commented over here. So let's just start with this loader equals, and then I need to move chat. Good comment. Boom, boom, boom. GLTF loader. So I need to do the loader load kind of stuff, model, and then I'll have GLTF over here. Usually you could just do this, but I think I gotta get deeper than that. Don't see anything. Maybe the model is small. Oh yeah. Well, that's that woman is too small for me, so I need to change that. So let's see what's inside the GLTF object. We have a scene, and we have a children. So I probably need the first item from the children. Okay, then I need, I think the position is 0, 0, but I need to do the scale set, and then I would guess it's 2000. And then I'm gonna add this model, this model. Hey, доброго ранку. Okay, I think 2000 is too big. Maybe 500, 600. I need to move it a bit on the y-axis, -1. That's too much. I mean, minus. Yeah, kind of. So we have the woman in center. Now I could assign the material. Do I need to do that actually? Well, just to see that everything is correct and just to show you how it's usually done. So I gotta traverse the material, I mean all the objects in the scene, and then if that's actually mesh, because that could be anything, like a camera or something, and then all equals this material. Yeah, we have the woman's some kind of UVs that we have on her. I don't actually need those UVs, but anyway. Something is working. So I'd probably move her a bit behind, like z-axis -1 should be enough. It stays a little bit behind. So we have some simple setup. We have the plane, we have the model. The next thing I would need to do, I'm gonna learn about some depth. So actually to render this kind of thing that we have here, I need something to distort those coordinates with, like something to distort those lines. So I could build those lines easily. It's just a loop really. Let's just build them for like so that we could have them for later use. So this geometry 1 equals something kind of line. So that's the width, and then that the height should be real small. And I want to make it really detailed on the x-axis and not really detailed on the y. So then I could create a lot of them. I could do the y and then 50, let's say 50. Number. Then I'm gotta add this one to the scene. And this geometry is this. I have to create the mesh with this geometry 1, and then the material, well, that'll be the same material. And then the mesh position y equals what? This has got to be I minus number divided by 2 divided by number divided by 2. So there's got to be something between -1 and 1. Let's see. So I have lots of them, maybe they're just too high. Yeah, still too high. Maybe 50 is just too much for this kind of height. Yes, now we have those kind of lines, and this is like what we're going to be using for rendering. I will comment that out yet, because I need something else. So later we're going to use them. Maybe like this. Yeah, I think it's better. And like this we have them exactly where we have the plane. All right, perfect. Let's leave them for now. So now what I want to do now, I want to render the depth of my scene to the texture. And this is done with the DepthTexture. So let's see the DepthTexture example. This is exactly the class used to save the depth information. And what I want to do, I want to render my scene to the to depth and see like how far each of the points in my scene is. But save it to the texture. And there's an example for that. Not really amazing in any way, but still. Okay. Thank you. So there's an example here. What example is doing? We're actually creating another texture like this one. Let's do that. So when we do this, I'm gonna create another texture like this target, this width, this height. Okay, I have it. Which format do I need? This should be false. And then the format should be the unsigned short type. Format unsigned short type. All right, and then the type should be the depth format. Okay, so far so good. Now I could try to render to this texture, probably, and this should work for me, right? So I have this. Let's see how they do that. They actually setting up the orthographic camera, and I think it would be better for my example, but let's stick with the perspective camera. And then they're using some shaders for that. And then when they render, they first render this scene to the target, and only then they render it to the actual scene. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let's do this. So far we just have I'm gonna remove this. Just have the usual rendering of this scene. I'm gonna remove that in the moment, so nothing should be rendering now. All right. So now we have this renderer set render target to this target. Then we render this scene to this target. And then I could use this target as a texture. So to use this as a texture, I'm going to create this depth info, set it to null, and then here I'm going to do this material uniforms depth info value equals this texture, right? This target texture. All right, after that I need to actually render this scene again. to see it on the screen. This render target, and then just render the usual render that I had. Right. Okay. Should actually just work at the moment, but it's not because scene is not defined. Yeah, of course. Okay, so it just works now. Yeah, it has some errors, but who cares? Just works at the moment. Some warnings probably. All right, so yeah, rendering something into some invisible target, render WebGL target. How do we see this? To see this, we should actually look how they use it. To use it, I would need to use this function read depth, which just reads depth from this texture and from UVs. Okay, so let's use it. I also need the camera near and camera far, and obviously I need that because to store depth I need to know like what's the scale of measuring that depth, like how far we start measuring and when we do finish measuring, because everything could be infinitely far if you just don't have any scale. All right, so let's just copy paste those kind of stuff into my shaders. So first of all, I would like to see it in the fragment shader. So I'm gonna have the camera near, camera far. I'm gonna have this important packing include, which actually includes the useful functions. Then I'm gonna copy read depth from the example. And then I could just read depth with my UVs and then just output it. Okay, so instead of outputting UVs, I'm going to just output depth and also remove the material from my face. I don't think I need it. I probably could get away with the usual should be green at the moment. Yeah, okay. So we have some shader error probably, and that's why we don't see anything else. Why? There's also a very important thing that I need to fix in my template at the moment. The undeclared identifier and read depth not matching overloaded function found. Oh yeah, that's probably because I don't have a texture and it throws an error. So it's gonna be depth info. What else? What else? Still T depth. Do I have T? Oh yeah, I have to use it. Okay, so now it works. It just shows black screen. I also have 30 FPS for some reason, and I know exactly the reason for that because I banged my head like for an hour. And this is just because of sRGB encoding, which I don't really need for this example. Yeah, feel free to explain why sRGB encoding have this effect. And by the way, just if you're wondering why I had 30 FPS, that's because of this. Because I've been wondering why I had this, because this is get program info log, and this is just some login probably, and it just takes up like 2 frames to get all those things. No idea why. My knowledge is limited, guys. But if you know the reason why this is happening, I'd be very interested to know. All right. So we just don't need sRGB encoding and we'll be all right. Okay, so now we have face behind this. Now I have to set the camera near and camera far uniforms. Let's use them. I could actually copy paste, right? And I could just use my current camera uniforms, like not uniforms, but the properties. Yeah. So now we have the camera near, camera far. They are right here. They're being used in this formula where we convert the texture to actual depth. It should start showing something pretty soon. Just shows white texture, which is something new. I believe we're not yet there. Do we have any kind of errors, maybe warnings? So depth texture format, unknown depth texture. What? Did I just made a mistake somewhere? New 3 depth texture. Probably some kind of typo. This is right, this is right. What is that unknown kind of thing? So I'm rendering to this target, setting it right here, depth info value, this target texture. So far so good. I'm clearing. Then I'm rendering to the scene. So this one works. This one probably too, but it throws an error for me. Unknown depth texture format. What kind of depth texture? So it should be depth format, but it's not. Well, I have it here. Unsigned short byte type. Okay, let's just maybe copy paste completely. So format. That's what I did here. I messed up 2 of those things. Yeah. Should just change places. So this is the format and this is the type. And it's written over there that it's actually type and this is format. This happens all the time. Okay, so now it's all black, just something new. Now it's all white, which is not really new, but still, okay. So we have some source and destination textures of the draw are the same, so probably I should use 2 textures and swap them. This is first thing to do. And then, do we actually have this thing working? You're right, I might have white because I have too big of a range here for the camera near and camera far. I have like 10,000. Maybe that's the reason, like 1,000. So I should probably use something like this. And here we go, we're starting to see something. Yeah, that's because the range was too huge, like the face was 1 unit from the camera and then the whole range was between 0 and 1,000, so they all looked the same. The difference was too tiny, too small. Maybe like this. Yeah, starting to look interesting. So maybe at this point I should just scale the face a bit. Oh, it's too big. So right now what we see here actually, and there's one bug that I need to face. We actually see the depth information. So this is the plain thing and we are rendering texture with the depth information into this. So now we got the information about the depth in our scene in the texture. That's cool. I don't know if you get that, but that's pretty cool. And what I can do next, maybe I could scale it even more. Maybe I don't need that at the moment. What I could do next, because right now if I just zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, I just break the scene because I'm using the same camera to get the depth information, the same camera to view. So to distinguish between those, I'm gonna just do the special depth camera just used to render this kind of stuff. Here I'm gonna use uniforms. Where are you, my uniforms? By the way, it's square uniform, this camera 1, so this camera would not be moving when I change my orbit controls. And then first of all, when I'm rendering depth, I'm going to use this camera, and when I'm rendering the whole scene, I'm going to use the other camera. So yeah, now it's kind of breaking because probably I have different positions for the cameras, different starting positions. So camera position set to this, let's set it to this. So right now it doesn't change anything. Now I could change the back again, like 100. So I could like rotate the scene in any way and zoom it in, zoom it out. So I have this face now. Let's see what we can do here. Kind of need more depth information out of it. Right now it's just plain white, and I need to do something like so. Right now you could see that we are just measuring the depth between 2 and 2.5, and we see only the sliced portion of the head. I wonder why it's all white for me at the moment. What could be the reason for that? I should see it actually like a gray parts, the ones that closer and the one that's further away. I wonder why I see it only in white at the moment. Do you have any ideas? Kind of complicated stuff, easy to make an error here, so, and I'm making those. So we have depth info. What's this? I should actually see some gray areas, not just the plain white thing. I wonder why it's happening. Okay, so in fragment shader I have this info, just reading the depth info. Oh, no idea, guys, where I made an error. I should see the gray areas, like the one that's further should be darker and the one that's closer should be brighter. But I made a stupid error somewhere. It's all broken now. Like in the example, I could actually see some areas gray, the ones that are further away, and some areas are just brighter if I zoom in, right? That doesn't change in my demo somehow. What did I miss? Okay, let's see the code again. Signed short bar type, okay. Format. Moment of silence. Okay, I'm gonna just randomly try to fix this. Maybe it's gonna work out. So we have the camera, that's alright. We have the camera far and close things. They're working good. They're just returning me black and white thing for some reason. Probably some typo. Okay. Scaling more on Z. Do you think it's just scale thing? Maybe just a number issue. Okay. Let's try to do that. Maybe I could just do it like right here. Camera fires this. Well, the background is actually working, kind of. But then not the other things. Something is wrong here. I'm missing something. Why it doesn't change? I believe I'm using the wrong material or something. Okay, this material for this plane. This is the render target I'm using. It just doesn't change anything at the moment. Camera near and camera far. What is happening? Okay, camera 1, does it work this way? It's working somehow this way. I don't know what's happening. Why did it work this way but didn't work like the other way? So we can see that the model starts at 0.5, but it's still all black and white. It should be gray or something. And the geometry is pretty scaled. I don't know. Okay, so if we don't fix it in 2 minutes, I'm gonna just look up the code that I did before the stream and just show you how it's made. This is probably some stupid error, but yeah, but I'm using camera 1 here. It's camera 1 here. Okay, let's for a moment just get back to the first camera. Even the first camera renders just the white, black and white thing. I wonder what went wrong here. All right, we are fixing the problem that we can't really fix. Did I mess up the... Gonna check everything again. Generate map stencil buffer. Did I miss something? Some setting render target, and it actually works. It kind of works. I'm rendering this scene. Then I'm setting the texture. And then rendering another scene. It's kind of everything is in place except the thing. Okay, I'm gonna look up the code that I did. Try Maybe I just fucked up some variables or something like that. So this is the code I used for the depth texture. Okay, nothing has changed so far. I'll just copy the constructor, which is just my actual template. I didn't change anything, but let's just try to fix it with a brutal force. And then maybe after the streaming comments, I'm gonna point out where was a mistake in the first place. Not all disappeared. Camera 1, which is kind of same thing that we just did. And that we loaded the model. Maybe I should just render after I did everything. No. Okay. Okay. Let's try to fix it with a brutal force. Brute force. Force fix at objects. So far so good. We actually get the depth, like the actual information, but why not depth? Why not depth? Maybe it's just too huge to render. No, it's just either black or white. All right, maybe I messed up some variables. Okay, let's changing the stream, fixing it with the brute force. Yeah, constructor. That's what happens when you try to code live. Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Fix the mistakes. Mesh equals plane buffer geometry. I know you're enjoying it, but I'm feeling so stressed at the moment. This is gonna be mesh. And this geometry, and then this material. Okay, this is how it should actually render. You see it's the gray areas when it's further and closer. So it's actually almost the same. I'm gonna change it to camera near. I wonder what was the mistake. I'm curious to fix it. Probably some weird attribute or typo, something like that. So I'm gonna switch it to camera 1. You can see now how gray it is. And then camera 1. Camera 1 is actually these 2 and 5, and let's switch it to 2 and 4. See how it looks like when now we have the real depth information. For some reason well, yeah, you know, we made that mistake. Okay, and even like that it kind of looks beautiful now because you see it goes to the black in the end. All right, So again, this is probably this is what we should have get in 1 minute if I didn't make that error. So right now we are just getting the depth between 3 and 2 and rendering to the texture. Well, the funny thing is that we can actually use the same texture inside the vertex shader. Use the vertex shader, same packing, same uniforms. Then the same function. It comes from the packing. I mean, those functions come from the packing. Okay, and then I could get the depth. I could actually get the depth inside the vertex shader. And I already have UVs, so this depth is kind of what I'm curious about. And then I'm gonna do like 3, and I'm gonna render this position here. Great. And then I'm gonna do pos z plus depth. Depth info, yeah, we should declare the texture as well. And let's copy paste the resolution as well. So right now we have this. Well, probably the other way. Now we have this. It looks kind of weird, but now we're converting the depth texture into actual geometry displacement map, right? Oh, you could multiply this by probably something like 0.6, and we'll get the normal face. And it's also colored with the depth. And we could use this coloring to get like this coloring. Like when the depth is bigger, we could just use it. Okay, and now the interesting part. We're gonna switch it to the lines. So instead of just using the face distortion. And by the way, I could as well do this. I could just this model position. See, it's -1 by default, I think. -1 plus sine this time divided by 100. So it should oscillate just a little. Position of undefined, okay. Nah, actually wrote the same line. Yes, now we have this weird thing. I believe this is too much. So the z was -1.5, okay. So we could see the face moving just a little bit. So it's actually dynamical. It's loading. It's rendering the depth on each frame now. Maybe Y. Let's see what's gonna happen. So now we could see this coolish animation where the face tries to break through the plane, but it never breaks through. Like this, so it looks a bit cooler. So we're getting this depth information and converting it into the actual plane. All right, this is really cool, by the way. I think it's really cool. And if you've seen my face experiments, this is kind of what you could do with those. The other way. They've turned it a little. Okay, enough with the polishing. So now I could use it with the lines. How would you use it with the lines? I already had that code which I commented, and I also have it here, so I'm just gonna uncomment it probably. Let's make it an explanational stream. So I'm just making a loop here which creates those geometries for me. I'm gonna remove this plane because this is just a test plane. Now we have those lines which don't yet work for me. Just the lines. Each of them has the texture, by the way, so you could see it's really stretched there because I'm using the same material at the moment. What I need to change though is the UVs. So I need to calculate new kind of UVs to use for those things. So the x coordinate will be the same, like the VUV x should stay the same. And that means that like 2 new UV equals like 2. Should make it here. It's gonna be VUV x. The x is the same because the lines are stretched on the x coordinate, and the y should be something different. And to calculate y, it's actually easier to set attributes on those. So I'm gonna just add the attribute float y, which is 0 at the moment for everyone else. Then I'm gonna calculate the length of the buffer geometry, like how many vertices are there. And then I'm gonna create an array with just the value, like how much we traveled. So the I divided by 100 would change from 0 to 100. Well, I mean, I am gonna change from 0 to 100, so this is gonna be between 0 and 1. And this is exactly what I need. I need something to change between 0 and 1 on the y-axis. Then I'm gonna set it as an attribute, and it should be good. Let's just preview those. So I'm gonna create the VUV1 probably. UV1. Yeah, it's starting to look good now because we're using the depth information now again for each of those lines. It's kind of breaking on some places, probably because the detalization could be bigger than that. Maybe I could choose like 300 here. It's gonna be more smooth. And then the texture, we also have some boundaries for the texture size. So probably we could change the texture size. Now let's try to get the colors, at least the colors.
We're offering everyone a goodie bags.
Okay. I just need to take a screenshot. Where's my screenshot? Not even that. And then maybe just switch to the black color. And it's starting to look cooler than that. And then we could use this depth information. I mean, we could just use another variable, float v depth, and then v depth equal just the depth. And then I have it here, varying float v depth. And then instead of sampling the texture again here, which I could actually use with the VUV1, but I'm gonna just do the mix with a v depth. It kind of shows me something, but not quite. Maybe the other way. Now it's all black, only the face is white. And when the face goes behind the scene, we just couldn't see it. And then we could change the mesh basic material to black, because we're not really rendering it per se, we're just getting the depth from it. And now we get this. And now to get the final look, maybe I could choose to this color that I actually copied. Actually copied the color and forgot about that. So instead of mixing with the white, I could mix with this color. And we're getting there, getting there. So maybe I'll just make the movements faster so I could see it. Yeah. It got this kind of dark look. So I should also play it here with the range, because I believe it's not getting white. I mean, the closer, when it gets the closer to the camera, it's not really still like the 0. And to get it to 0, this is this camera 1, 2, maybe 0.2. Yeah, it will be just a little bit brighter on the edge. Also, maybe I should just use the smooth step function here. So maybe instead of doing this, I'm gonna just do this. So it's I should do it before that and then mix the colors. Kind of the inverted colors, so I could see it for a moment. So this way you could actually render anything to anything, like you can distort any objects with those textures. And you almost get this noisy look just because of the movement of the model. Of course, the model also opens the mouth and moves, but yeah, it's a bit different story. Maybe it shouldn't be black actually. It should be just brighter. Kind of this color, not really black. Yeah, I think we get in there. Maybe it should be between 0 and 1. I mean, 0.8 and 1. Yeah, it's somewhere. I mean, I'm just trying to guess the range of the values that I get there. I think the linear was pretty cool as well. With the smooth tab, there's a bit more power when it moves in. And then maybe just the last touch that we're gonna add. So what else? I'm gonna add some noise. Show you how it will look with the noise. It's pretty cool. So we have this movement. See. Let's add some noise. I'm gonna get it here. I have this noise which accepts vector 3. So right here, position Y, I'm gonna add something, should be something real small. Multiply it with this noise and then vector 3. And then what's gonna be there? It's probably VV1 and then the time. We still have the time. Yeah, I have the material uniform time here. Well, yeah, let's see. Yeah, probably the time is too fast, and then this one should be scaled. A lot of key as well. So now we have this, which already looks cool. So well, we have a noisy face coming down from the plane. Well, they have it zoomed in like this. So it looks pretty nice. For me, it looks kind of dark because I have a really light room at the moment. But I hope you get the idea. And then you could also change like the noise values so they are more. Yeah, let's just do this also. Settings. There's this progress value, and then I'm gonna set it. I have to set the uniform somewhere. And now I could use this thing here. Have the uniform. Hello to London. I could multiply this Z amplification with the progress. Now I could grow it. What if I do it like... It could be just real weird. I'm gonna change it to white for a moment just to see it better. Yeah, so this is how it's made. Except that they render the model with a GLTF animation, and then they also add some noise, and then they also add some post-processing. But the main concept is just rendering depth to texture and then using this texture as a displacement map on some lines and then adding some noise. And it's actually pretty cool. I can also show you what I did with this. I've been trying to make my own animation, which I posted on Twitter. It's in doodles. I also added some shadows there. So it's pretty cool what you could achieve with that. Exactly the same concept. What's the... Oh, it's 69, all right. This is what I did. Also did some shadows here. And because it's a texture, you could actually repeat it, by the way. It's funny. You could make lots of those faces on one plane. This is just some weird experiment which didn't go anywhere in the end. But it's still kind of fun that you could do. Because it's a texture, you could just replicate it, repeat it, and then use it again at the depth map. And yeah, it's funny. But the concept is still the same. You just use this one. The only difference with the demo that I did today is that here I used the physical material, not the shader material. I used the actual physical material for this one. But it's pretty cool, yeah. So let's get back into that demo. It's actually the same, it's just they have it much more detailed. They have more lines here and they render it real big, so they get all the depth information out of it possible, the most effective way. But you see the same noise, the same thing, and there's this beautiful gradient as well. Gotta decompile that later. That's what makes it beautiful. So lots of like cool tech on this website combined together, and it just makes it a real cool website. And I'm glad that they're using it for a good cause, like for removing racism. Yeah, it's like an Apple emoji. I showed in the beginning of the stream that you could actually see their model. You could actually change yourself parts of their model, like this. Yeah, this is exactly my face when I tried to fix the bug today. And this is my face when I didn't fix it. Yeah, pretty much. All right. So yeah, I made some weird mistake which I wasn't able to fix today. Sorry guys. I hope it still was informational to you on how this website is made, and I hope you learned a new concept that you could use in your demos. I think it's pretty cool. And let me know which websites would you like to see decompiled, what would you like to see. And I'd be grateful that you slap like if you like the video, but only if you like that. I hope you had some fun today. Alrighty. There's a lot of minor details that you could miss. So sometimes people actually ask me like, I can't do that, I spent day fixing that. Well, here we go. I did this animation like 5 times already, I think, in some previous projects. But then again, I wasn't able to fix it here and now, and I would probably spend an hour or two just finding that line of code where I did that mistake. So thank you guys. Have a good day. I'm gonna stay in chat for a little while. I love you all. Tell something good to the people that you love. Do something good today. Live a happy life and have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic day. I'm gonna switch to the big screen to show you my love. I love you. See you next Sunday.